Man, this is getting fishy. This is getting fishy. Yo, man. You know, you the conservative sector, the conservative sector of the so-called black manosphere. I got a lot of questions to ask y'all, man. Wow. Because this past Friday, uh the US Congress wanted to have a bipartisan panel to do an investigation of the January 6th insurrection that happened in the nation's capital. You guys know the insurrection that happened, in January 6th, 2021, in which a lot of the conservative sector of the manosphere stated that it was patriotism or revolution that happened and what have you, defending what happened January 6th. But the thing is that Congress wanted to investigate what really started this insurrection, who was really behind it. I mean, and my thing is this: if the insurrection or the attack on the Capitol that happened in January 6th, if it was a just thing, if it was just according to the conservative sector of the manosphere, then you guys should have no problem with Congress doing an investigation to see what happened, what really took place, who was behind this. And if there was no wrongdoing, then likewise, it'll show in the investigation, right? If what happened in January 6th was an act of patriotism, then there should be no problem with Congress investigating this to see if it was really an act of patriotism or domestic terrorism, right? All right, let's read this article. This article that I'm about to read concerning this topic is the link to the article is located in the video description box underneath. But nonetheless, I'm still going to post the link to this article in the chat so you guys can read for yourselves. All right, so let me open this screenshot. Let me do this screen share. All right. You guys see it? Okay. So it's from apnews.com. This article is from apnews.com, and the title is GOP Blocks Capitol Riot Probe, Displaying Loyalty to Trump. Written by Mary Clark Jelinek and Lisa Mascaro. Dated May 28th, 2021. Here's a picture of Mitch McConnell right here. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Okay. Washington AP. Senate Republicans on Friday blocked creation of bipartisan panel to investigate the deadly January 6th attack on the Capitol, displaying continuing party loyalty to former President Donald Trump and firm determination to shift the political focus away from the violent insurrection by his GOP supporters. The Senate vote was 54-35, 6 short of 60 needed, to take up a House-passed bill that would have formed an independent 10-member commission evenly split between the two parties. So according to this panel that Congress wanted to form to investigate the January 6th attack on the Capitol, the deal was that it was going to be a 10-member committee or a 10-member commission in which 5 members in the commission will be a member of each party. 5 members of the Democratic Party will be within this panel or this commission. 5 members of the Republican Party will be in this panel and in this commission. Therefore, no one can say that. Therefore, no one can say that this was some sort of conspiracy done by Democrats in order to try to further persecute Donald Trump. You know, it was going to be an even number of members of each party, of each of the 2 major political parties in America, that was going to, and it was going to be independent, that was going to investigate what really happened in January 6th, right? But it was blocked. Why? Because there wasn't enough votes within Congress in order to give the green light to this investigation. You know, it was 54 members of the Senate who was in favor of this bill to be passed, and it needed 60 votes. So let's see who. So it was 6 short. So let's see who were these 6 members, right? Or let's see who were these members in general who voted against this bill to be passed. Okay, I'm going to continue reading. It came a day after emotional appeals for the commission from police who fought the mob, the family of an officer who died, and lawmakers in both parties who fled Capitol chambers in the worst attack on the building in 2 centuries. The Republicans were mostly but not totally united. 6 voted with Democrats to move forward. 11 senators, 9 Republicans, and 2 Democrats missed the vote, and usually high number of absentees for one of the highest profile votes of the year. At least one of the missing Republicans would have voted in favor of considering the commission, according to his office. The GOP opposition means that questions about who should bear responsibility for the attack should continue to be filtered through a partisan lens. In congressional committees, rather than addressed by an outside independent panel modeled after the commission that investigated the September 11, 2001 terror attacks. Because you guys remember the 9/11 commission that investigated the September 11 attacks? Yeah. The investigations will happen with or without Republicans, declared Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy, one of the Republicans who voted to move forward. To ensure the investigations are fair, impartial, and focused on the facts, Republicans need to be involved. The vote was in part a GOP attempt to placate Trump, or avoid his reprisals, as he has kept a firm hold on the party since his defeat by Democrat Joe Biden. The former president told his supporters to fight like hell to overturn his defeat before the siege, and continues to falsely say he won the election. Claims shouted by his supporters as they stormed the building. Trump called the commission legislation a Democrat trap. You know, how is it a trap? That's what I want to know. The vote also is likely to galvanize Democratic pressure to do away with the filibuster, a time-honored procedure typically used to kill major legislation. It requires 60 votes to move ahead rather than a simple majority in the 100-member Senate. With the Senate evenly split 50-50, Democrats needed support from 10 Republicans to move to the commission bill. Speaking to his Republican colleagues, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said after the vote they were trying to sweep the horrors of that day under the rug out of fear or fealty to Trump. He left open the possibility of another vote in the future on establishing a bipartisan commission, declaring the events of January 6th will be investigated. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi echoed that commitment, saying Democrats will find the truth. Though the bill to form the commission passed the House earlier this month, with the support of almost 36 Republicans, most GOP senators said they believed the bipartisan panel would eventually be used against them politically. While initially saying he was open to the idea, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell turned firmly against it in recent days, arguing that the panel's investigation would be partisan despite the even split among party members. How would it be partisan? How would it be? I want to know, how would it be partisan, Mitch McConnell? When the bill stated that it would be a 10-member commission and it'll be evenly split between both parties when it comes to this 10-member commission that should have or would have investigated this what happened in January 6th. McConnell, who once said Trump was responsible for provoking the mob attack on the Capitol, said dismissively of Democrats, they like to continue to litigate the former president into the future. Still, 6 in McConnell's caucus defied him, arguing that an independent look was needed. And Pennsylvania's Pat Toomey would have brought the total to 7, but for a family commitment, his office said. Wow. In addition to Cassidy, the Republicans who voted to move forward were Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Susan Collins of Maine, Ben Sasse of Nebraska, Rob Portman of Ohio, and Mitt Romney of Utah. Murkowski said Thursday evening that she needed to know more about what happened before and on the day of the attack and why. Truth is hard stuff, but we've got a responsibility to it, she said. We just can't pretend that nothing bad happened or that people just got too excitable. Something bad happened, and it's important to lay that out. Some Republican colleagues strongly disagree, defending the rioters who supported Trump and his false insistence that the election was stolen from him. A House Republican said this month that one video of the insurrection looked like a normal tourist visit. Oh, damn. What type of shit is that? Who said that? I would like to know who said that the insurrection looked like a normal tourist visit. What the fuck? Yo, as many times as I've been to DC, and as many times as I've been to the Capitol building, I never seen a normal tourist visit consisting of people breaking into the damn Capitol building. I don't know. I never heard of such a thing, but move right along. In reality, the attack was the worst on the Capitol in 200 years. The protesters interrupted the certification of Biden's win over Trump, constructed a mock gallows in front of the Capitol, and called for the hanging of Vice President Mike Pence, who was overseeing the proceedings inside. Lawmakers hid on the floor of the House balcony as the rioters tried to break in, and senators evacuated their chamber mere minutes before it was ransacked. 4 of the protesters died that day, including a woman who was shot and killed by police as she tried to break into the House chamber. Dozens of police officers were injured, and 2 took their own lives in the days afterwards. Wow. Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick collapsed and died after engaging with the rioters. I did an article on that. Well, I made a video on that. I didn't make an article on that. I made a video about that back in January. But moving right along. And video showed 2 men spraying Sicknick and another officer with a chemical. The Washington medical examiner said he suffered a stroke and died from natural causes. Oh. Senate Democrats angrily questioned how the Republicans could vote against an independent investigation. An insurrection without consequences, without even a proper investigation, is a dress rehearsal for another insurrection. said Illinois Senator Dick Durbin, the number 2 Democrat in Congress. When the Capitol Police, who protect us with their lives, ask for this commission, we are ingrates to refuse. The Republicans, hold on for a minute. This is funny because a lot of you people in the Black manosphere who claim to be A, conservatives, and or B, staunch Republicans, you guys also are in favor of police doing their job, right? Because a lot of times when you hear news of a so-called Black person being shot and killed by police, a lot of times you fake Republicans and or fake conservatives in the Black manosphere said, hey, listen, the police are just doing their job. The police is right. I support police. Okay. You guys support police, but this investigation was the idea of Capitol Police convincing Senate to make an investigation about the January 6th uprising. So if you guys support police, you should likewise support Capitol Police, the Washington Capitol Police, when they insist that Congress do an independent investigation on the January 6th uprising to see if it really was just an American Revolution or some sort of patriotic nonsense, or if really it was a crime committed. Let's investigate to see what happens. I mean, if what happened in January 6th was an act of patriotism, as a lot of people in the manosphere claim, then there should be in favor of this investigation. Because if it was an act of patriotism, then this investigation would actually prove the innocence of the participants of this of that incident. Therefore, and not only that, a lot of people in Congress, a lot of Republicans who are in support of Trump should also be in favor. For the most, listen, this should have been a thing where everybody in the Senate should be in favor of this bill to be passed, especially House Republicans. Every single House Republican should have been, Senate Republican. Every single Senate Republican should have been in favor of this bill, especially those who supported Trump during the Trump administration. Why? Because once again, if this incident in January 6th was done out of good faith, then the investigation would prove that, thus proving the innocence of the participants of this event, especially when it would be independently done and bipartisan. So Republicans have nothing to lose when it comes to this investigation. Now, granted, the majority of Republicans in the Senate was in favor of this bill, but it was still 6 people short because several Republicans voted against this bill, and some, like the article says, went AWOL and didn't even show up to vote for and against this bill. Funny, right? What's going on, Sheila? What's going on, Sheila? What's up? Hey, yo, what's going on? What's up? He says, none of that, just a bunch of man children who couldn't get their way. Exactly, hey, yo. Shalom, sir. Yahoo, shalom. Oh, and by the way, I'm not a Democrat nor Republican. I'm just an objective motherfucker who just sees the bullshit. All right. I'll continue reading. Senate Democrats angrily questioned how the Republicans could vote against an independent investigation. An insurrection without, I already read this. The Republicans' political arguments over the violent siege, which is still raw for many in the Capitol almost 5 months later, have frustrated not only the Democrats and some of their Republican colleagues, but also those who fought off the rioters. Sicknick's mother, girlfriend, and 2 police officers who battled the rioters alongside him went office to office and asked Republicans to support the commission. Michael Fanone, a Metropolitan Police Department officer who responded to the attack, joined Sicknick's family on Capitol Hill Thursday. In between meetings with Republican senators, he said a commission is necessary for us to heal as a nation from the trauma that we all experienced that day. Fanone has described being dragged down the Capitol steps by rioters who shocked him with the stun gun and beat him. Wow. And these are the same Trump supporters who says Blue Lives Matter. We support police, right? But they'll do this to police officers. But moving on. Sicknick. Remember, Sicknick, this guy's Sicknick, right? Remember, this is one of the Capitol police officers who died after suffering injuries as he was stopping rioters from storming inside the building. Now, medical examiners stated that he died of natural causes, but I think that's bullshit. Sicknick's mother, Gladys Sicknick, suggested those who opposed the panel visit her son's grave. Yep, that's what they should do. In an interview on CNN after the vote, she asked of Republicans, what kind of country do they want? A racist one. Yo. Oh, man. But, yo, man. What say you? $5 conservatives of the manosphere? What say you? $5 Republicans of the manosphere? What say you, Trump supporters of the manosphere? I mean, I'm just saying this, because certain people, now, let me get this straight. Most people in the black manosphere did not speak about the January 6th uprising that happened in DC. But those who did, for the most part, the ones who were in support of this insurrection, claim that this was an act of patriotism. So, okay, if that's the case, like I said before, if that's the case, then it shouldn't hurt for an investigation to happen to see if this insurrection was done out of good faith. And if the results, and because if that's the case, then likewise, the results would show that, thus making every participant of the January 6th insurrection innocent. So I think more than likely every single Senate Republican should have been in favor of this bill. You know? What's going on, R. Jizzle? What's going on? What you say? He said the Manosphere Republican Party is going to be silent on this one. Yeah. Yes, R. Jizzle. Just as much as they were silent on Caitlyn Jenner, a lifetime Republican, running for governor of California. Oh, they think it was a hoax? Oh, really? A lot of people in the manosphere thought that the uprising in January 6th was a hoax, even though people died. Damn. People would do anything to cover up the dirt of these Trump supporters, man. Well, when I mean people, I'm talking about people who support Trump. People who support Trump would do and say anything to cover up the dirt of their fellow Trump supporters. Sir, but Yahoo agrees with all Jizzle. He agrees with Ayo. Yeah. 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 Ayo said, yeah, I know a few people who think it's a false flag. Yeah. Yo, I remember when this first happened, you had people within the mainstream manosphere, not so much the black manosphere, people within the mainstream manosphere who claim that the January 6th attack was Antifa dressed and pretending to be Trump supporters doing this. Exactly, all Jizzle. They sound like the QAnon theory. They sound like QAnon. Yeah, QAnonymous. I remember that dumbass theory I was going around, the QAnon theory. Yeah. Yeah, the Trump supporters thinking that January 6th was a hoax is just as pathetic as the QAnon theory. Talking about Trump is going to save the day. What say you, manosphere conservatives? What say you, manosphere Trump supporters? I mean, Trump supporters should all in unison agree with this bill, because this bill, to have an independent bipartisan investigation of the January 6th attack, would prove the innocence of the participants of this insurrection if this insurrection was done in good faith. Therefore, every single Trump supporter should be in favor of this bill. As a matter of fact, if you're a Trump supporter listening to this and you live in the area where the Republican senators either went against the bill or didn't vote, you should question them why. You guys should call, if you live in the jurisdiction of these senators who voted against the bill or did not vote at all, you guys should be questioning them why. Because once again, if this attack on Washington in January 6th was done out of good faith, then likewise the investigation would show, thus proving the innocence of these participants of the insurrection. Every single Republican within the Senate should have been in favor of this bill. I mean, this goes to show you how people are. You know, when something like this happens and you have people making all these excuses, when I mean people, I'm speaking about these pathetic Trump supporters, right? They're making all these excuses, covering up or trying to justify this event that happened 5 months ago. Now, when it comes time to put all these theories to the test, right? And say, you know what? We're going to conduct an independent investigation of this attack to see what really happened. Now we're going to put everything to the test. It's now the fourth quarter. There's only 2 minutes left in the game. The team is tied. You got the ball in your hand. You're talking all this shit. Let's see what you can do now. Now it's time for you to step up. When it's come time for the Trump supporting Republicans to step up and to let this bill go through so an investigation can happen of January 6th, certain people didn't step up. Certain people didn't show up. Certain people said, nah, not me. I ain't voting. But I do give respect to the Republican, to the House Republican. Excuse me. I keep saying House Republican. Much respect to the Senate Republicans who did vote for this bill. Much respects to them. But damn, your $5 manosphere conservatives, y'all took another L. You Trump supporters took another L. I mean, think about it. Even still, a lot of Trump supporters within the manosphere believe that Trump was robbed when it came to the 2020 elections. They believe that Trump rightfully won the election. Likewise, some of them believe, the ones who think it was not a hoax, believe that what happened January 6th was an act of patriotism or revolution in order to expose the corrupt Democrats, as if the Republican Party isn't corrupt also. Both parties are corrupt, but going on to what I was saying, therefore, if that's true, according to the Trump supporters, then all of them, including the Senate Republicans, all of them should have been in favor of this bill to go through, to pass through the House, man. See, the Senate. I don't know why I keep mistaking the Senate for the House. Those are two different sects of Congress. You got the Senate and you got the House of Representatives. This specific article that I read dealt with the Senate part of Congress. So it was 6 votes short of the Senate to help pass this bill. But I do believe that eventually it will be an investigation in the future on when it comes to this uprising, because there have to be an investigation. There have to be an investigation. You know, so I do believe that in the future, Congress will do another vote, or probably draft another bill that's similar, and Congress will, eventually have another vote to pass the bill, because there have to be an investigation when it comes to this January 6th uprising. I mean, the whole world saw what happened in America when it came to this uprising. So the international community is looking at America like, okay, huh? They're looking at it, it's like, okay, when you guys going to investigate this? So it has to be an investigation that's that'll take forth. All right. So I'll post the link. I'll post the link to the panel. For those of you who want to come up and speak about this, y'all can. If not, I'll just end this live and go and watch these playoff games. Sup, all Jizzle said, how can anyone talk to someone who believes that Trump won the election? Exactly, all Jizzle. Exactly. Exactly. How could you take somebody serious when they believe that Trump won the election? I mean, Supreme Courts in different states, state by state, concluded that there's no evidence of voter fraud taking place, thus Biden won fair and square. Listen, the person who I voted for, what's going on, Mike V? What's up, Mike V? What's up? Shalom. But back to our Jizzle's comment. Like, the person who I voted for, right, this in this past presidential election, he didn't win. But I'm not sitting there claiming that voters fraud took place. By the way, I voted for Howie Hawkins, who ran for president in the Green Party. He didn't win. I voted for him. He didn't win. I'm not sitting here screaming voter fraud and what have you. I accepted a loss. I accept the reality that the candidate that I voted for in this past U.S. presidential elections lost. You know, and why is it hard for these in denial ass Trump supporters to do the same thing? Oh, you voted Green Party as well? Okay, Mike. And Mike, we both, I'm sure you and I both accept the reality that the one that we voted for lost fair and square. He lost. And we accepted that and moved on. The Argis said, he said, it's some Republican politicians that are complicit with the insurrection. Yeah. Oh, okay, you're a registered member of the Green Party. Okay, Mike V. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm independent. I'm a non-party voter, so I'm not registered to any. I'm a registered voter, but I'm not registered to any political party. But if anybody want to come up and speak on it, you know, in this channel, we speak about more important and more relevant topics than a former NBA player having a quote unquote YouTube beef with a content creator. We speak about more important shit up in here, man. Look at it. Okay, Jizzle. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. What's going on, Mike V?
Hey, shalom, bro. What's going on?
Shalom, brother. Shalom. What do you have to say concerning this topic?
Oh man, we have been calling this out for a minute. That there was going to be some consequences of this 1/6 event, and that you know, certain people went down, you know, from the manosphere, went down to the actual event. They recorded themselves going all up inside that Capitol, and now that people are getting arrested, they done took their content down. So what I'm saying here is that there's gonna be a lot of consequences coming out of all of this. And they see the writing on the wall. This is sort of the precursor to like the downfall of the party. Because you know, once all the information comes out and it's not redacted, even if it is redacted, there's going to be a lot of finger pointing going on, because there's cameras inside that Capitol, and they know who let who in and who was involved in that. And so once everything rolls downhill, and so once it all comes out, that party is finished, obsolete. Yep.
Yeah. Like you said, there's cameras all over that building. So there's a lot of tape, a lot of video evidence showing who let who in. Yeah. And go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that, remember the day before, they let those people in to do a quote unquote tour. Who does a tour during COVID, right? And so
right.
I'm telling you, man, somebody is in for a rude awakening with this, and I think it's going to go all the way up to the top.
Yeah, and that's why I think certain Senate Republicans either voted against the bill or went AWOL when it was time to vote, because somebody's protecting someone real powerful. Because when it comes to something like this, Mike V, you and I know, and this is basically what you're saying. Basically, I'm just saying in a simpler form is that it had to be someone in a very powerful position to help jumpstart this insurrection. It had to be, and if I'm wrong, if me and you are wrong about this, Mike, then every single Senate Republican should have voted for this bill. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, they're the party of obstruction. That's kind of what their role is within Western society, or American society for that matter, is to obstruct any sort of progress. And so, or whatever the Democrats try to do, they just try to obstruct it as much as possible. But in this context, in this scenario, there's so much blood on their hands that, you know, and there's so many people involved in it that they could potentially see an implosion within the party itself. There would be no more Republican Party. They would have to rebrand and call it something different. The America First Party, or whatever they want to call it, you know, the Anglo-Saxon Party, which would exclude a lot of brothers in this space who want to claim that they roll with them. Yeah. So that's where we are right now, that we could be potentially looking at a one-party system going forward. I know it sounds crazy. I mean, we have the Green Party and the Libertarians, but Green Party, Libertarians, they're inconsequential to the greater picture of the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party. Republican Party really has been losing steam over the last couple of elections. And so you're seeing the emergence of just a kind of a singular party. Even if the people on the right don't agree with the left has so much momentum at this point that it won't even matter what the right is talking about. It won't matter that the Republicans, came up with one or two great ideas. What happened on 1/6 can be so impactful on a lot of people, because some of the people who did go down to the Capitol or did support Trump are now saying, "Oh, well, I'm a libertarian, or I'm an independent now. I'm a registered independent." Well, yeah, you would be.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, you would be, because you would have to own up to the fact that you actually voted for this guy, right? You actually put in your hard-earned vote for a failure. And I just think that whoever, I'm saying on the inside of the party, whoever was involved in this has a lot of, they got to go in front of a federal judge. They got to answer to a lot of people as to how this went down, all the interrogation. Remember, the 9/11 Commission was ill.
Yeah.
Colin Powell was like, "Hey, we had evidence." He
Right.
waved that paper. And where's he at now? He had to step out. You ain't never heard from him again.
Yeah, exactly. He went silent. Exactly. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, he jumped ship. He's out of there. You won't see him in the media at all, if at all. He even left the Republican Party after 1/6. So that should tell you exactly what's going on here. There is no safe place in that party for brothers, and I think that party is already, blighted, for lack of a better description, because they have no platform. What can they possibly run on? That the election was stolen, that they don't like stimulus checks. They don't like stimulus checks, send them back.
Right, exactly. Send them back. Right.
All they can do is that they can point to Cuomo and say, "Oh, well, look at what Cuomo's doing," or look at that AOC, or look at this person and look at that person. And I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, your party has no platform. They don't really stand for anything. And when they don't get their way, they cause an insurrection. You have, Mississippi with no running water, lack of infrastructure there. People in West Virginia dying prematurely from cold lung cancer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's messy, man. They're a party that does not have anything going for itself outside of the fact that they're predominantly white and male.
Right. Predominantly white and male, and a bunch of culture warriors, like AO stated. Yeah. And this is this may be my this may be me just speculating, but something tells me that Mitch McConnell has a lot of things to hide. so, something telling my spider senses is telling me that Mitch McConnell tried to do everything in his power to make sure that that bill did not go through Senate for a specific reason. In my personal opinion, I may be wrong, but something tells me that he had a hand in this. What happened in 116 also. Just my personal speculation. I have no proof. It's just speculation.
Yeah, that may be true, but the thing for Mitch is that he wants to uphold the integrity of the party. He has to keep it from fracturing apart, right? Because now it's small GOP versus the larger Republican Party itself. And when it's fractured like that, they can't really govern because nobody's on the same page. That's why Liz Cheney got, basically booted out. This is a woman who's the daughter of the vice president of the United States. Right. People calling her a rhino in this space. Guys calling her a rhino. How can she be a rhino? What are you talking about? She grew up conservative her whole life, underneath the tutelage of her father, who's the vice president of this country. Like, what? People don't really understand the significance of what's going on here. That you have not just an insurrection in the Capitol, but an insurrection within the party. That they're decapitating Liz Cheney, anybody who went against Trump. They're basically cutting them down.
And that's going to further destroy the party that's already destroyed. Yeah. And as far as the future of the party, in my personal opinion, I think that if the Republican Party would ever have any legs to stand on in the future, it would have to be consist of mostly at least moderate millennials. Because that right-wing conservative stuff that a lot of Republicans claim to preach, a lot of people in America is not buying that, as you can see.
Well, yeah, because people's needs shift, right? So, it's kind of hard to eat, conservative talking points when you ain't got no food on the table and ain't no income coming in.
Thank you. Exactly. Thank you.
Kind of hard to eat that. And so I think what's happening now, people are kind of on that side, people are kind of confused as to who do they vote for, where do they go, and they have to deal with this for the next 4 years. It's only May 31st. Biden, this isn't like it's 2023 and we're coming into November. No, it's only May 31st, man.
Exactly. It's only May 31st. Exactly. Biden didn't even serve a full 6 months in office yet.
Nah.
Yeah. And already this. And by the way, Shaw Willie Conversations. Hello, how y'all doing? How you doing? Yeah. But it's man, and like you said, Mike, we're just witnessing the party going further and further and further downhill.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people within this space are not, they don't comprehend this. It seems as if they don't comprehend this. They're still with these culture warrior talking points. I mean, go ahead, Mike V. What's your opinion on that?
No, you're right. The culture warrior is a real aspect of the movement itself, the ideological part of the movement itself. They can't really function without culture, which is what their whole purpose is, right? Is to kind of maintain what they consider to be traditional values. But the reality is there's a rainbow right on the right. there's people on the right who are openly GAY and nobody's saying anything about it.
Caitlyn Jenner.
How can you be? Well, not even Caitlyn, but there's guys who, they're on the right, but they are GAY. They kind of openly GAY guys, and as I don't get it, right? I understand that they're trying to show that they have diversity on our side, yeah. But the reality is that what part of conservatism are you trying to uphold if you are a part of that rainbow right? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's a contradiction. And the hypocrisy is that they challenge the left for going too far to the left when in fact the people on the right
doing the same thing. Exactly.
Well, not so much as doing the same thing, but they're trying to uphold values that they themselves cannot fulfill, right? If you're not reproducing any children, what kind of traditional values you upholding if you GAY? What are you talking about?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But that isn't that what we constantly see when it comes to people who claim to be for the right? That what they say, what they do contradict what they say.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean, this is nothing new. What they do contradict what they say. I mean, when you speak, I'm to the belief that in America, it's not that many true conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not against conservatism, true conservatism, but I just don't think there are that many true conservatives.
No,
especially in this space. Hell no. And you and MOT, I remember y'all did y'all was on a panel together, I think on MOT's channel a few months ago, in which what happened in 116 was real fresh. And you guys showed a video of a person who is jihad, openly jihad, who went to DC and who claimed to be in the right and who was fighting for Trump he was alongside every other Trump supporter stating how Trump was robbed. So for the right to talk about this culture warrior nonsense, but have this going on within their own school of thought, that's a contradiction. And that's not me or you going against that lifestyle. I'm just saying that just goes against what it means to be conservatism.
The strategy behind that, is they can be that way. They can live that lifestyle as long as they don't challenge anybody within the party. Right? As long as you don't say anything, because black men have the same problem, right? As long as black men can be a part of that party as long as they don't bring up racism. As long as they don't bring up black men getting shot, right? Tim Scott stood on Capitol Hill and said he gets pulled over and harassed by law enforcement too, right? When Philando Castile got shot. And so
I remember when he said that. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so when you have people like that trying to find a place within the party, they're not really allowed to really fully express themselves and all their grievances. What kind of party is that, right? Michael Steele was tasked with the responsibility, the former lieutenant governor of Maryland, to help move the party forward, help diversify it. And that didn't work out too well because once Rush Limbaugh and him got into a spat, Rush got him out of the party. He was no longer the chairman of the RNC. And see, that's what I'm trying to say to a lot of these guys. I don't care if you're on the right, but tell the truth. You ain't really got juice like that on that side of the fence.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's you got to uphold this status quo. If you're a so-called black person or a person who's jihad or anything outside of a heterosexual Caucasian male, you have to uphold that status quo to be a member of that party. And don't challenge it. Be a good boy.
Yeah, because there's a hierarchy within the party, right? The party says white and male is at the top and everybody else is beneath them. And I'm saying, I don't think these guys really understand that you like your place within that party, but you have more power on the left than what you did on the right. At least from what I can see, observation-wise, I don't see too many black men over there that are really running things at all. Well, I mean, who are you going to call on? What do you call it? Not Tim Scott. I mean, There's nobody really on the right that you could think of blackmail right now that's really running things.
Nah. And you know what's so funny? It's funny because a lot of people in this space who claim to be Republican, they never mention how the former U.S. Secretary of Education within the Trump administration was trying to get rid of civil rights, these civil rights rules to protect black students that Barack Obama created. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if you're aware of this history, Mike V, but when during the Obama administration, there was a lot of complaints when it comes to the parents of so-called black students who was being targeted, and these complaints was coming from every sector. No, excuse me, every part of the country. Black students from every part of the country just being targeted for suspensions and what have you. Therefore, Barack Obama made a series of rules within the U.S. public education system. Basically, it revolves around protecting minority children and disabled children. And the former U.S. Secretary of Education, I forgot her name, she tried to actually get those rules taken out of, repealed until the U.S. Supreme Court stepped in. But the fact of the matter is that you have somebody from somebody from the Republican Party trying to remove rules to protect minority and handicapped children from being discriminated against in fields of education. It shows how the party feels about that demographic of people. Am I wrong? Am I right? Is it just my mind playing tricks on me? What is it?
Yeah, they're supposed to be the party of pro-life, but at the same time, they figure some people are expendable, right? And so they figure that black people are mostly expendable. And that's why they don't like the 14th Amendment, because the 14th Amendment upholds equal justice under the law, right? The idea that you can discriminate against one particular group of people and still have a civilized society, it falls, short on its face. And so the Voting Rights Act right now, the Civil Rights Act right now, they're passing bills and legislation to actually ban protesting right now as we speak, use vehicles as weapons against protesters, basically trying to legalize the ability to mow them down. I know that I think that passed in Missouri, state of Missouri. So this is where we are right now, that this is the party that really has nothing left other than to use violence and extremism to get their way.
Wow. So hold on for a minute, Mike. You mean to tell me that in Missouri, a law passed in order to be able to mow down protesters?
Yeah, let me pull it up for you right now.
Wow. Yeah, pull it up. Are you kidding me? Damn. Wow. That's something else, man. And then
there you go, right here. Let me drop this in the chat real quick. Put this in the back chat for you.
Okay. You could screenshot it if you want to. You can screen share it.
All right, let me share my screen then.
Yeah.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yes. Let me add it. All right. Wow.
Yeah, wow. Missouri passes a bill that makes street protests a felony crime, right? Let me see if the
God damn.
You probably can't see it. Let me zoom in.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
that was
better.
May 5th. That was May 5th. So
Yeah.
Missouri House passes bill that makes street protests a felony crime. Let me see if I can find the.
Wow, that's crazy.
The first violation of blocking the street would be an infraction according to the bill. The second would be a misdemeanor that would bring the possibility of jail time. A third offense could bring up to 4 years in prison. So next time
Wow.
somebody gets shot, this is what they want.
My gosh. Wow. My gosh. Wow.
This is all the smoke. This is all the smoke that they want. So here it is right here. Proposed Missouri bills would legally protect drive. The fuck?
Woo! Are you wow? you kidding me? What?
Proposed bills would legally protect drivers who strike protesters. This is where we at, man. Two Republicans put this together.
Mike, hold on for a minute. Really? Oh, really?
Hey, it's written in text.
Proposed Missouri bills would legally protect drivers who strike protesters. This is something. This is crazy. Hold on. Ayo said Florida did the same thing. Are you? Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Proposed Missouri bills. Wow. So this is where we at. Where you have a state that would protect someone who kills a person utilizing their First Amendment rights.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to laugh, but this is fucked up. You know, Sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying.
The right to peacefully protest is within the Constitution. You have the right to do that.
Exactly.
If you get a permit from your city or your municipality, you can do a demonstration.
Yes, you can.
I'm not sure. I understand what this is really about because this could backfire on them too. Remember in 2017 in Charlottesville when they were out there doing the protests with the tiki torches, this would also give legitimacy to use a vehicle as well, right?
Exactly.
But we know back then what precipitated the violence there was a vehicle running into a crowd.
Exactly.
But see, this is what happens when your party runs out of ideas and it doesn't have an actual platform. It starts to resorting to a lot of violence and extremism.
Mm-hmm. The good old American way. Mm-hmm. If you really think about it. Wow.
Yeah. And this comes on the cusp of Black Wall Street centennial anniversary.
Yeah. Wow. Speaking of spitting on somebody's face, for real, you just spat in the face of so-called black people, especially ADOS black people. When a state is proposing this type of bill, Now I doubt that it would come to law, but to me, it is just the fact that you have people who claim to be conservatives, people who claim to conserve the Constitution, because that's what conservatives always preach. They want to uphold the Constitution, but yet create bills that would protect those who may take the life of those that are actually using their First Amendment rights. That's a contradiction in itself.
I think last year, I think they calculated at least 200 protesters have been hit by vehicles, struck by vehicles during protests between 2020 and 2021. 200. I forget what the exact number is, but it's close to 200 or more. I think few people have died. I think like maybe a dozen people have died.
That's crazy. That's insane. Wow. And yet you have yet you have politicians who want to propose a bill to protect these people who run over peaceful protesters. This is crazy. This is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mike, we're like you, I, MOT, and maybe a small few are the only ones talking about things like this. The rest want to worry. The rest of the people within this space prefer to worry about Kwame Brown and Tommy Sotomayor. This is amazing. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Where we have things like this going on in this country, yet we want to focus on these goddamn irrelevant ass topics. Like who got beef with who? Someone else had a man in his bed. Like who gives a shit about that?
Nah, man. I mean, I don't focus on the gossip, man, because they turn the space into the gossip fair, sipping tea with the gossip fair. So I don't really rock with that, but to R Jizzle's question, he asked in the chat, did you see what they are doing in Texas? There's a lot of things going on in Texas. I can't even keep up with that. If you can, be more specific about it.
Yeah, elaborate, R Jizzle. Elaborate. What specifically happened in Texas? Yeah. I don't really pay attention. Like I don't really get involved with the gossip that goes on in here. But I listen to it. I do pay attention to it, but I don't get involved in it. But I pay attention in order for me to observe what people are talking about. Because at the end of the day, I do like to sit back and observe things. That's just how I am naturally. But I just find it funny. Yeah. And also, Mike V, did you hear what happened to this sister in the UK, this BLM activist in UK? Her name is Sasha Johnson. And how she was shot up in England?
I haven't heard that. I know there's a sister that runs BLM over there. She's like an actress, it's kind of entertainer over there, but she started her own BLM chapter over there as well. So I'm not sure if it's the same person. Voter restriction bills in Texas. That was bound to happen. Yeah, just as an addendum, Texas, the industrial sectors of Texas, at least from a tech standpoint, happen in all the blue cities. Houston and Austin and San Antonio, these areas that are more moderate to the left than they are to the right.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Now, in regards to what I was talking about Sasha Johnson, now I don't know if she's an actress. I don't know if she's an actress over there, but I do know she's a very popular BLM activist in the UK, and she also started her own political party over there that's considered the first Black-run political party of Great Britain, called the TTIP. The Take the Initiative Party. And she was recently shot. And the thing is, when it comes to the results of the investigation, it's so funny. So therefore, it leads me to conclude whether or not a lot of BLM activists, whether here in the US or in the UK, are being purposely targeted, being that they got the world's attention.
Yeah.
I want to make a separate video about that. But Mike V, was great speaking with you, because I do have to go. So I will end this. stream, but thank you for coming on. So, do you have any final thoughts, Mike V?
Nah, man. Just shalom, man, and then be safe out there.
All right, you too. Thank you. And you and the Black Brain Trust. Yeah, I know that you and Complex, you guys are busy, but you brothers, y'all need to bring back y'all streams. I know y'all did a couple of streams not too long ago.
Well,
but,
I'm on the Progressive Brothers podcast, so I do my political content over there.
Okay. The Progressive Brothers podcast. All right.
Yeah, I'll drop the link in the chat.
Yeah, most definitely do that. All right, Mike. Thank you for coming along. All right.
Hey, no problem.
Come back anytime. You know that. Yeah.
Sir.
All right. So thank you guys for coming on here. Shout outs to our Jizzle, Ayo, Shaw Willie. Shout outs to Sir But Yahoo. Shout outs to who else am I missing? Am I missing someone? Shirley, either Quiet Storm. Shout outs to you. And shout outs to anyone who is watching from the clouds and anyone who will watch this video on the playback. So all you guys be safe. Shalom. So all right, so Mike V, he put a link to his video, to a video called the Progressive Brothers Podcast, where he does his political commentary there. So all you guys, thank you for coming along and participating in this stream. So you guys be healthy, be positive, be strong, be safe. Peace.